Duckley's near the podcasting beast with the gentleman and scholar, the Professor John Gotti, the King of RNG, the Troll Master, the data analyzing ninja, the conqueror of his own fate. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Terminator, Professor Omega.
I just want to give a big shout out to Stephen Curry for breaking the all-time 3-point shot making
Oh,
record.
you don't care about that crap. He took 99 million threes. You don't care. Of course he's going to break the record. He took 99 million threes. He's stepping back. He's not looking at the rim. You mentioned him not looking at the rim. You don't even like those shots. You don't respect that crap. He should have went 8, not 7. He should have went to the Knicks. He should have broke that with the Knicks, not on the Knicks, but with the Knicks.
I didn't say that one word Doc has just spewed whatsoever. I just need to put that on record. Because I didn't say a single word that he just said.
Ladies and gentlemen,
if I said that, I would say it.
John Gotti knows that he was thinking it.
No, I wasn't actually. No.
He's like, Steph Curry should have been on the Knicks. He should have been shooting threes for the Knicks.
No. And here's why. That franchise would have ruined him. And it would have pissed me off.
No.
They would have found some way to try to ruin him.
I would like a what if scenario drawn on
they would have traded him away for 2 first-round picks.
I don't think
when
so.
was it? Wasn't it like 2 years before LeBron came?
No.
Left for Miami? But it was like 2 years before LeBron left.
Not buying it. Yeah. Actually, I think more people would have came to New York if Steph joined, but I don't know. The whole landscape of his career might have changed. You might be right, but that's not why we're here today. What's changing the landscape of the NBA and the NFL, but right now, it seems like the NBA might be getting hard hit.
Yes.
With Kobe D. Williams.
I think I said this last year. I mean, I've been saying this oftenly, but I talked about how it's going to get worse soon.
Well, that's like what they say. I think I was reading.
I just want to be on record that I don't have the fortunates of hindsight this time. I've actually said this.
No. I mean, it's almost one of those things. It's like, God said, "Where there be a dark cloud, do you not expect rain?" Come on, think about it.
So it's like cloudy night. I mean,
no. You know what I'm talking about. It's like,
I mean, it could be snow. Like it could be.
No.
We just had a natural disaster out there in Kentucky, and we're sending our well wishes out to them and our prayers out to them.
Of course, but it's like when you see certain things, you just know. Now, I don't know about the drastic turnaround. I know we talked about the slippage.
Yep.
Of protocols being followed. This seems like
the problem is and I'm glad you used the word slippage.
Yeah,
it started off as a slippage, and now it's a slip and slide.
Well, that's where I'm kind of confused because, with the NBA, so many people are going into the protocol at a high rate, and it's I take for example,
Chicago.
Obviously, Houston Rockets, right? They played the Nets last week, and now James Harden's in the protocol. So it's I would expect that the Houston Rockets would have players in the protocol because hey, it was it's within the last week based on the contract, that contact trail that they like to go over. Hey, who have you been in contact with? Well, the Nets have been in multiple cities.
I don't know if that's as accurate.
But that's how it works. It's hey, you tested positive. Where have you been for the last week? Because we have to contact those people, and then those people have to get tested. That's how it usually works. I think maybe in the spring or something, somebody went to a concert and they were like, "Hey, somebody at the concert tested positive for COVID, and we're reaching out to everyone that went to the concert to tell them."
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know, and we talked about this maybe a day or so ago with Iowa, right? I was telling about the game that I saw on TV, and it's like, yo, it's thousands of people there, and it's like if one person has it, which people now have these fake vaccination cards, and they're not really caring so much about other people, which is how it started in the beginning,
I'm about to say
right?
it hasn't changed. It's just the
I think
consequences are much more grave.
I think other countries have figured it out. Like they figured out that humanity is the only way to stop the spread. It's like it's not just about giving up the things that you love. It's just about really following that commandment of like love thy neighbor. Like,
Yeah,
and
they
that's
kind of
not like
they skipped
saying
over that. They skipped over that.
yeah, and it's like and I think that's it. It's like hey, get to a point where you're like I care about myself. I care about the person next to me. I care about the people that they're going home to. I care about the people that I'm going home to. Now, I'll be honest. When I'm on the field, I know that I'm with my girls. You know what I mean? I'm practicing most of the time distance. Um, when I go to shake hands at the end, a lot of us do, elbows. And like you said, we're covered up. Um, sanitize and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Now I'll be the first to admit, like, yeah, when I'm out in the field, I'm not doing that. I'm not, oversensitive. I know that I'm far away from people. Exactly. Sanitize. I'm not putting my hand on my mouth. I'm not touching my face. Everything that they said in the beginning, I've stopped doing. I nipped in the bud, biting my nails. But it's like now with sports, it's like somewhere along the line, especially the NBA, because I'm looking Giannis, Harden, the whole Bulls team, the Knicks. Like I'm looking at some of these teams, and I'm like, yo, that's so crazy that this is kind of
and they're big
coming up.
Too.
Right, and so it's like, what's really happening? Is this a sign of those particular cities, or is it just, hey, these particular teams just aren't following the protocol strict enough?
Well, I mean, and we're probably going to get into our next subject because for some reason
Of
we
course.
ended up talking about this way longer than we thought we were. But
that's just the NFL. I mean NBA. We haven't got to the NFL yet.
Yes, and that's the part that's crazy. It's the fact that this is just the NBA.
Right, because the Browns.
The same conglomerate, the same association that we were applauding for having the bubble, for doing all this stuff that they was trying to do to prevent outbreaks like this from happening. Last season, I would say they did a pretty darn good job in helping prevent more outbreaks. And then this season, just throw it out. Just
yeah, and I'm not sure, like I said, with the Bulls, that's just such a crazy situation. And I would like for them to get to the bottom of that, of how the whole team contracted COVID. Like I would like for them to get to the bottom of that. Because it's like it's not one person who one person went out to the club. It's like remember how it was like LeBron went to a party and it's like a big deal. Like, hey, LeBron, you went to this party. I don't know if you can play. Oh, we're gonna let you play. Don't worry about it. And you were like, oh, LeBron doesn't have to follow the rules, but other people get kicked out. You got, Daniel House Jr. bringing the lady up to his hotel room. Yep. You know what I mean? Like
the double standards that we always talk about with sports.
Yeah, which I still haven't forgiven for, but that's either here or there. But the NFL, man, we got freaking, Baker Mayfield, we got Stefanski.
Again.
Obviously, we had now
Stefanski again.
Yeah, but now we have more Ram players who just played.
Yep.
On Monday night.
Yep.
So that's where I have an issue because it's like, hey, how is it that they just played, but they are now testing positive?
Because it's after the game. It's never during the game.
That's crazy.
How many? I think we only had a few cases where an NBA player, had to leave the game because they found out that he had a positive test. In baseball, we saw that a lot.
See, that's nuts. See, that doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense.
A lot of this stuff needs to occur before the game begins. Before it happens. Heck, even
but they
before,
do. That's the thing. Like they are testing. Like they should be test. So that's where what Aaron. That's what. That's what when Aaron Rodgers says. What Aaron Rodgers says makes sense. It's like, hey, they should be testing. 5, 6 in the morning. You know what I mean? And then, like, because that makes sense. What he says, when you're not vaccinated, you'd have to test super early in the morning. But the thing is,
at the same time too, now we have to question the accuracy of the test. Does it give you false positives? For so many tests to occur, you're going to get some false positives. There isn't a definitive way, and it goes all the way back to the very, very first case.
Yeah.
There's no definitive way of being able to capture it when it first happens, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to capture it before it first happens to add preventive measures around it. But they're unable to do that. So you could test every single hour, every 30 minutes. It doesn't matter, because eventually you're going to get false positives or false negatives, and the player's going to be allowed to play. And now, and thinking about just with, basketball more, because they have more interactions with the fans than football players.
True.
Like,
and the ball is being shared more amongst more players. I would say that the ball is being shared. And I mean, obviously, I don't know if there is a.
I mean, heck, we had a long discussion just last year in the playoffs about some foolish Knicks fan deciding to spit at Trae Young.
I remember this, yeah.
And I literally said,
but I don't know
they
if
could be charged with assault. They could be charged with, aggravated assault with a biological weapon.
No, absolutely. But I mean, we could go down this hole for a long time, man. I think this is one of those things we just have to continue to monitor.
Do a whole episode talking about this, about our theories and what we could do. And folks, if y'all want something like that, let us know in the comments. Let us know on our social media. We will do that for you. If you want to hear what Dr. Prof has to say about Corona Chan and how it is running a blaze in a team near you, then let us know.
Absolutely. But I mean, moving on here to the NFL here. Quick news: the NFL is raising the salary cap for 2022, raising it $25.7 million from $198.2 million to $208.2 million, which is great for a team like my Buccaneers, who have an opportunity now to re-sign Chris Godwin and some of the other players.
I was just about to say that, actually. I don't think they're gonna run it back a second time, even if they don't win.
No,
but
honestly, I think, and I'm gonna. This is brief. I don't want to go too far into this, but I mean, when you look at like JPP and some of these people, like obviously Sue might retire. JPP is not going to get 12. I mean, I wouldn't pay JPP $12.8 million again. I might want to bring that down a little bit. Or maybe JPP retires. You know what I mean? You never know. But certain people like Carlton Davis have to be re-signed, and some of those players like that you might let go. But I mean, the rise is good for a team that's looking to rebuild. This is great for a team like Jacksonville, who loves to to overspend. A team like the Jets, to reevaluate some things. A team like the Washington football team. The Lions, like teams that need to do a full rebuild. The Steelers, who might need a new quarterback, right? This is a great opportunity. $25.7 extra million to rebuild their franchise. But for right now, let's get to the power rankings.
Let's get to some power rankings.
Sitting at number one.
Staying at number one.
Yeah, staying at number one after their ownership increased in with the Chicago Bears. They're getting just a little bit more deep dish pizza. That's the Green Bay Packers, who own the cheese. Aaron Rodgers.
And all you had to do was not mock the belt.
That's true. That's very true. Very, very true. Aaron Rodgers, battling the toe injury, still playing well and had an opportunity. They went ahead and beat the Bears. They deserve to be number one. Um,
I
and
completely
actually,
agree.
in another Bleacher Report, another power ranking Bleacher Report had the Chiefs at number one, which is very, very interesting. That's why I didn't look at the rest of the list after I saw the Chiefs were number
Okay,
one.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at that particular part, but we're not gonna go
No.
forward with that one because I
This
was
is
like
probably only
shocked.
just the NFL's one because
Yeah,
I'm very, very afraid to look at ESPN's.
yeah, that was a rough one. Number two, obviously, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It says here Tom Brady owns the Bills, moving up from 3-2. Always has, always
I
will.
think I said that after the game.
I mean, that's because they said it. I think he's undefeated versus the Bills. I believe it said, or
I didn't even
no,
know
I
he was
didn't.
undefeated. I just said that he always has their number.
Yeah, they showed a graphic. You might not have like heard it, but maybe it like imputed into your brain that he owned them, and you just repeated what you saw. Just like
Probably not.
Tony Romo said that Brashon Perriman didn't have any targets, and everybody
Well, I
ran with it.
mean, that was
I
that was
was like,
something
oh, he
totally
had.
different.
Again, I know he had targets, but it's all good. Number three here, falling from number two, the Arizona Cardinals. Glad they didn't fall too much because they only
No.
lost by 7 points. It was greedy. That last possession.
I mean, plus
Um,
they was playing against a top 10 team anyway. So, like, for them
yeah,
to drop
but I
further
mean,
than one would be ridiculous.
yeah. I think, and this is where the Chiefs come in, who are number four. They're back. I would say not back into the top five, but they're starting to ascend back to the top where people feel like they belong. But the Cardinals really mucked up that last possession. I think the
Yes.
offensive lineman expected him to spike the ball, and he's like running around like a dang fool. But Kyler Murray will grow and learn from this. We'll have to wait and see how this impacts the playoffs because the Rams defense versus the Cardinals was really, really good.
Yes.
And then number four, moving up from number five, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who, I mean, absolutely, uh, you know, lost the Raiders somewhere in the arc.
Stop! They're already
Listen,
dead.
they lost the Raiders in the arc somewhere. We're not even freaking, you
Did you
know,
just do a Indiana Jones joke?
not even Indiana Jones can find out where the Raiders have been lost.
That's
Uh,
hilarious.
48-9. I mean, I don't know. It seems like the Chiefs are. I don't want to say back, but at least they're
No,
more
they're
confident.
getting their groove back, and having a dominant win like this does a lot for a team's confidence as well. Um,
Now, I will
I
say this.
I am definitely looking forward to Thursday's game because
Yes,
that's going to be must watch because it has all the implications in the world, all of it.
absolutely. Now, I will say that I don't know if the Patriots deserve to drop a slot. Usually, in these situations, the team usually stays where they are, but I get it. They had, the bye week. Um,
It was the
you
bye
know,
week plus the Chiefs winning big like that
I mean, I guess.
too.
Number six, we got the Los Angeles Rams coming up for number eight. Obviously, 30-23 win over the Cardinals was really, really nice. And they won without so many players,
Yep.
which is very, that's very rewarding, not only for the power ranking, but for the team itself going into the playoffs, knowing like if somebody gets hurt, that you don't have, you have players that are able to, fill in.
Yep.
So I was
The
pretty
next
impressed
man
with
up.
that.
Next man up
Yes.
mentality. And it's like, the wheel keeps on going with the broken cog. Just replace it with something else and it keeps on going.
Speaking of a cog that might need to be lubricated, we have the Dallas Cowboys at number seven, falling from number six. Obviously, the Rams played well. The Patriots had to bye, and the Chiefs played well. The Cowboys played good, good enough to win.
Yep.
They almost let the football team, the old skins, back into the game. The first half, I turned the game off because The football team just wasn't playing riverboat Ron football. It was very, very weird, but I mean, definitely shout out to the Cowboys for closing it out. They have a defensive player in Parsons who's wreaking havoc on the league, and they're taking full advantage of it.
I would
He could
say
have had a strip sack and an interception, honestly, in this game.
The only issue with the Cowboys is consistency.
Big time.
Both sides of the ball needs to play great. I don't think it's going to carry over well into the playoffs if the defense is
No.
playing great, but then the offense is playing, really lackluster, or vice versa. And I think
Exactly.
that's the only problem with them. I'm fine with them
Exactly.
being number 7, but if they don't clean that up, like, it's going to be another salty off season for them boys.
Agreed. Number 8 here, moving up from number 9, we have the Indianapolis Colts, a team that benefited again from having a bye week.
Yep.
Obviously, they lost to the Bucks and then came out and really dominated the Texans. Right? It was the Texans or Jaguars?
It was the Jaguars.
Jaguars. Shut them out. But I mean, moving up from, I mean, they're a gritty team. I think that's a team that you don't really want to see in the playoffs because they're not going to go out lightly. They have the pieces. They have the pieces. Carson Wentz is finally making it through a season. Knock on. I don't have any wood. Is there any wood?
Oh, no, it was the Texans.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yes,
I
was thinking of another team. Sorry.
Crap. I don't have any wood, Colts fans, but there it is. But let's see what happens. They have some potential. I mean, obviously, doing everything they need to do
for a team that many thought was dead in the water.
Right.
They're like, how you like them apples?
Exactly. Number 9 here, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. Go Chargers, go 8-5. Another scary team, scrappy. Justin Herbert is dominating despite not having his top 2 receivers. I challenged him. I said, hey, are you going to be able to dominate without him? And he said, well, I got a guy named Jalen Guyton that I'm going to hit a strike to for 60 yards on the run while getting hit.
Yep.
The wind in my face.
Yep.
And I can't say with something dripping from his eye. I can't say it, but he threw a dime to get them to number 9. Wow. But number 10, we got the Buffalo Bills. They deserve to be number 10. I don't think they should have dropped out. I think they really should have possibly stayed in, that 7 through 9 range.
Who would be number 10 then?
I would say if I had to put a team at number 10, I would say because of the bye week again, I mean, the bye weeks, I would be inclined to leave.
Yeah.
I probably would have. That's a rough one. I guess they do deserve to be number 10. Now that I look at it. I mean, it wasn't a bad loss, but the Chargers won pretty big. The Colts won pretty big.
I mean, they didn't. So the Colts.
And the Bills, they didn't lose bad. They actually really, really gritted it out. That's why they're staying in the top 10. But easily they could have been, outed by the San Francisco 49ers, who won a game versus the Bengals that we thought they were going to lose. So, so shout out to the Bills for staying in the game, forcing it to overtime. Shout out to the 49ers for, really making a lot of people look foolish. And even though they almost let the Bengals back into the game.
Well, I mean, they let the Bengals back into the game. That's why the game went to freaking overtime.
Well, I mean, they still won it. I mean, that's why I said they almost let them back into. I guess let them win it. They almost let it slip out of their finger. More slippage.
There we go.
Slippage. Titans number, move up to 12 from 13, and the Bengals dropped from 11 to 13 after they lost. I mean, I like that. 2 slots. The Ravens, for the first time, are outside of the top 15. Obviously, Tyler Huntley is going to be the guy potentially under center. We'll see if Lamar can, battle back. I know you said they're probably going to
they're
force him
gonna
to
try
come
to
back,
force him to come back.
which is a terrible idea.
And
You mentioned
I don't know
the
if I said it
RG3
on
thing.
stream, but I already have really bad RGD flashbacks.
You did say that RG3 vibes, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll come back tomorrow, right? As I know that people heard this show on their favorite podcast platform, but if they didn't, they can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com to listen to this episode as well as all the previous. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we go over Thursday night football, as well as give you the news, the analysis, and the read.